Hello, glider pilots, and welcome back to a ground school uh, with the Soaring Society of Boulder. I'm Armin Charbonneau, and I've made this ground school for my own students who I train for Aerotow, this particular one for Aerotow. But you're welcome to watch it. Remember, you must get a flight instructor to do this with you. Um, but what I have found over the years of instructing Aerotow is, of course, about the hardest thing there is to learn in glider. Um, and it can take a long time, but I have found that it's better to have the student focus on just three things. Um, so, first of all, we could talk about Aerotow until the cows come home and longer, and it goes on, and there's an awful lot to learn and a lot to think about. But when somebody's trying to just starting out to learn Aerotow, it's I found it's better to just give them three things to focus on. And keep in mind that Aerotow is a formation flying. And when most people learn to fly airplane, not glider, airplane, they get to be pretty good airplane pilots before they get trained on how to do Aerotow. In glider, you're going to get trained in Aerotow from the first lesson. So you have to learn Aerotow really before you learn much about flying. Aerotow, typically students find Aerotow, it's like it's scary, it's hard, you can't do it. It just takes your mind away. And you wonder why. How come that dumb instructor can just do it like it's like no big deal, and there's no effort in it. He just does it. At some point, they realize, like, gee, you mean all I have to do is follow the tow plane? Like it's just monkey see, monkey do. I mean, it's really easy. And that's a story for a lot of people who have learned Aerotow. They have a hard time, and then all of a sudden something happens, and it just clicks for them. So anyway, we could spend hours of time discussing it, but we're not going to. We're going to give the student just three things to think about, nothing else. The first rule is to fly to and stay in the happy spot. Now, the happy spot is that's my own nomenclature, and it's a spot that is directly behind, not off to the left, not off to the right, directly behind the tow plane, and just a hair below it. So when you're looking at the tow plane, it will look like the tow plane's wheels are on the horizon. So if you're directly behind and it looks like the tow plane's wheels are on the horizon, you're in the happy spot. That happy spot is a place where the forces from the rope, from the tow plane pulling on the rope, and the natural stability of the glider tend to keep it in that position. Yeah, somewhat of an analogy, and certainly not a perfect analogy, but one way to think about it is when they shoot telescopes into space, they put them in a Lagrangian point where they have good stability. So if you want to know what that spot looks like, here's a picture where my student is doing a pretty good job. He's flying it in the back seat. I'm in the front taking this photo. And as you can see, we are directly behind the tow plane. The tow plane's wheels appear to be on the horizon. The rope has normal tension on it. The yaw string, I think, is fairly straight. It might be just a hair off. But anyway, that's the happy spot. So that's what you should be looking for when you're flying, and you need to fly to and stay in that spot for the first part of training. Once you can do that, then we learn some other stuff. In the second rule, your wings, the wings of the glider, have to be level with the tow plane. That means if the tow plane's banked, you're banked the same exact amount. So if the wings of the glider are not level with the tow plane, whether the tow plane's wings are level with the ground or you're in a bank, if the wings of the glider are not the same level, bank, whatever you want to call it, with the tow plane, you will fly away from the tow plane. It's that simple, and it happens every time without exception. So the bank, you have to match that bank. Now, I get asked sometimes, well, should I be looking at the wings? Well, the answer is no. You need to be looking at the tow plane. And you take your eye off that tow plane for 1 second, you're probably not going to like what you see when you look back. Um, you'll know if the bank is the same if you're flying, if you're staying right at the same spot. You're staying in the happy spot. If you're moving out of the if you're moving away from the happy spot, means your wings aren't the same as the tow plane. That tow plane wings is the glider pilot's horizon. Now, in a turn, the nose of the glider will point somewhere on the tow plane's outside wing. Don't think about it too much. That's just geometry that you got a straight glider on a curved line, so tangent to the circle of flight. And so it's going to be, so in a steeper bank, the nose will probably fall a little further out than it will in a shallow bank. But don't spend too much time thinking about that. Just fly into the happy spot and keep your wings the same as the tow plane. Start banking as soon as you see the tow plane start to bank. I get asked, well, we're 2 seconds behind the tow plane, so should I wait a little bit to start that turn? And the answer is no, because there's a reaction time. So think about it. The tow pilot thinks about it. Okay, I'm going to make the turn. He pushes the stick. The stick's connected to some rods that cause the ailerons to move. The ailerons move, and then the wings start to move. Well, that's going to, and then the pilot, that glider pilot, sees those wings starting to move. Well, now you start to move your stick, which takes, I don't know how long before the ailerons actually move, and then there's some inertia there, and it takes a little while for the wings to actually move. So just as soon as you see the tow plane start to bank, you start to bank the same. This is one area where I find a lot of disbelief. There's a lot of non-believers here that start out and they just don't believe that the wings have to be exactly the same as the tow plane. It's time to get religion, and and you got to be a believer. It's not hard to be a believer once you see it happen. So get those wings, keep those wings exactly the same as the tow plane. I had a little trouble finding a good picture for this, and it actually works a little bit better against the mountains where you can see the tow plane is banked. You can see the glider's banked. The yaw string is out nice and straight. That's what it should look like in a bank. Third rule, if you get out of position, and it happens, it can happen for a number of reasons. But anyway, slowly, first of all, if you find yourself out of position, stabilize in that out of position place. Then slowly work your way back into the happy spot. Drift back into the happy spot. So that should not be a big bank. That should just be a little tiny bank, different than maybe the tow plane. And it's going to be taken out as you get into the happy spot. Now, you can fly stabilized outside of the happy spot. You can get towed outside that. It's not the ideal way to fly, but you can do it. So if you're out of position, stabilize right there at that out of position, then slowly drift back into position. You can, and of course, there's a range of positions outside that happy spot. And after gaining competency in Aerotow, you'll get a lesson in boxing the wake, which trains for flying throughout that available range. So this cartoon kind of shows what the available ranges are where you can safely fly the glider. And you'll also at some point learn boxing the wake. But for now, for a conclusion on your first Aerotow ground school, only think about these three rules. Fly in the happy spot, bank with the tow plane. The tow plane, the wings of your glider have to be the same as the wings of the tow plane. And if you get out of position, stabilize in that out of position, then slowly drift back to the happy spot. I recommend not jumping ahead to other lessons that I'm going to post after this one. I want the brand new student to just focus on those three things. Just keep those three things in your mind. When I fly, I introduce a fourth one while we're flying, and the student can actually see it happening and understand what the fourth rule is. And, you know, also as an instructor, if there's other instructors watching this, I do not recommend that you let the student get badly out of position. I want my students seeing the correct position all the time, seeing what it should look like when they're flying, and learn how to fly in the happy spot with the wings the same as the tow plane. And if they get out of position, they stop right there, fly it out of position, out of the happy spot, and then slowly drift back in. So, at any rate, that's it, folks. Thanks so much for watching, and I wish you the best on learning Aerotow. It's like I say, it can be really hard, but once you learn it, it becomes really easy. But you have to just kind of get over this hump or down the learning. I don't know. It like it all of a sudden happens, and then it's like, oh, this is really easy. All I got to do is follow the tow plane. So, at any rate, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you at the field.